let's verify this identity. So the first step, as I like to do personally, is I like to just move the answer down to the bottom and then erase it, and so that I'm going to work straight down the equal sign, so that I make sure that I'm always working on one side of the equation until I get to the other side. Other teachers do it a different way, but that's how I prefer to do it. All right, first step. Well, I look at this problem, I look at the answer, and I'm like, well, I got to somehow combine two terms into one term. And how do I add fractions together?
Common denominator.
I have to get common denominators. So in order to do that, this is going to have to be multiplied by the cosine and the cosine, so that it gets this. And this one is going to have to be multiplied by 1 minus the sine and 1 minus the sine. Okay, now again, I'm not going to show that work. I'm not going to actually write down that I did that, because part of this thing is understanding what happens in the equal sign. So you're beyond basic algebra. Teachers expect that you can do stuff in your head and they can follow your thought process. So that's a little bit reassuring. So here's what I'm going to write. Cosine squared x plus 1 minus sine x all over what? 1 minus sine x times cosine x. Okay? And you're expected to be able to know how you got from that to that. You don't have to write down a little note of here's what I did. You don't have to do that. You can just do it, and as long as you did it right, your teacher can see that. Okay? So now that I've done that, I'm going to simplify this further. So first of all, I'm going to leave the denominator as, I'm not going to do anything with it yet. I'm not going to multiply those things together yet. I'm just going to leave them how they are. But I am going to do this right here. I'm going to square that thing. Now, a lot of people, here's a little side work over here on the left. A lot of people think you can distribute that. That's a big mistake. That's one mistake, one of the most common mistakes that people make that stops them from going on to calculus, is they can't get past that simple thing. You just can't do it. Here, let me prove it to you. 1 plus 2 squared does not equal 5. It equals 9. You can't square it. You can't square that. It just doesn't work. Okay? So just remember, you can't do that. What you have to do is you have to multiply it out like this and then FOIL it out. So you're really going to get 1 minus 2 sine x plus sine squared x. I kind of did 2 steps at one there, right?
Yeah.
It's the FOIL. This was your outside plus your inside. Okay? So let's write that up here. So I've got cosine squared x plus, and then this thing is just, let me change color so you can see what changed here. 1 minus 2 sine x plus sine squared x. Got it? All right, next step. So I'm still looking at this going, not sure how I'm going to get down here to the just 2 secant x, but I start to think to myself, oh, wait a minute. Don't I know that sine squared plus cosine squared equals 1? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to combine those together. On my next step, I'm going to write 1. And again, you don't have to prove it to anybody. You can just write the next step, and a mathematician will be able to see what you did and know what you did. So that's what changed, plus 1 minus 2 sine x all over 1 minus sine x times cosine x. You follow what I did there? Now what can I do with the 1 and the 1?
Add them to 2.
1 and 1 is what? 2. And not only that, but in this next step, I'm going to do two. I'm kind of going to do 2 things, if that's okay. I'm going to actually add them, and then I'm going to factor it out. Because see how there's a 2 here also?
Yeah.
So I'm actually going to write 2 parentheses 1 minus sine x. I should have changed colors. So that's that, and it's over 1 minus sine x times the cosine of x. And are you starting to see how I'm going to get my answer now?
Yeah.
So now, and notice to conserve space right here, I'm just going to write to the right of it equals. It's legal. These are going to those two things are going to cancel, and I'm just going to get 2 over cosine x. And what's 2 over cosine x the same as?
2 secant.
2 secant x. So that was a little bit more complicated problem.